What's going on, everybody? Matt Malatesta on my whistle, VYPE football podcast with Jackson DePasquale. All right, so playoff week. Finally, playoff week. It's off season, regular season. Now it's playoffs, aka postseason. All right, so coming into the playoffs, we had our rankings. Go check out our rankings on VYPE.com. But trivia question: how many teams went undefeated and won their district in combined 6A, 5A?
Trivia question: how many teams total?
Yes.
Let's call it 8.
10.
Ooh.
Willis, Katy, Ridgepoint, Bridgeland, Cy Falls, Westfield, Lamar, and Randall. Kudos to all you guys for going undefeated and hoisting the hardware in your district play. No one cares about that anymore. We're on to playoffs. Okay, the number one team coming into the playoffs is North Shore, of course, in 5A. In 6A. In 5A, we've got Randall just demolishing people. Hitchcock had a tremendous year in 3A. We've got, Columbus in 4A. So a lot of Houston area teams doing great things. Over the weekend also, if anybody is very interested in Kincaid winning the big school SPC championship for boys, Houston Christian winning their all-time very first football championship in SBC history in the smaller division. Kudos to the Mustangs. All right, moving on to the playoffs. The first round, is there going to be somebody that stubs their toe and gets upset? I really don't know. We'll go around some of these first round games, but I feel like it's going to be going with the chalk, meaning for the layperson that all of the favorites are going to win. Anybody that you think has a chance?
To win it all.
No, to upset somebody this week.
I think I look at Cy Springs Tomball in Division II, 6A.
Yep.
This is Cy Springs team who started off their year hot and then took 2 tough losses to Bridgeland and Cy Woods. They were able to bounce back, got a big comeback win against Waller to help boost their chances of making the playoffs, and then he beat Cy Lakes on Saturday to officially clinch that 4th playoff spot. Cy Springs is kind of they had the 2 road bumps. They're now kind of back on track. They're playing a very tough Tomball team, but I think that this could be a very close game, very tight game, and you could see Cy Spring with the past 2 weeks that they've had playing in close games, having to make a comeback in one of those games. This could play in the favor of the Cy Springs Panthers, but this Tomball team is very good. Look for them to establish the run game early and try to get on the board early against the Cy Springs team.
That is 6A D2 Region 2. Yes, if that makes sense. Yes. Okay, so you got the Woodlands playing Nimitz blowout for the Woodlands. Klein Kane and Cy Ranch. That's a pretty good game. I still think Klein Kane is shockingly better than we thought coming into the season. I'm going to go Klein Kane there. Conroe versus Davis. I don't know.
It could be an interesting one. I think, here's the thing about Conroe. Conroe has made the playoffs for the first time 4 years straight, I believe, since it's like 1994, I believe.
Yes.
I believe they posted a graphic on that not too long ago. But you look at this Conroe team, they just have hit every year. They've made the playoffs the past 4 years. They run in the Westfield all 4 years, have not gotten a win. Now Westfield goes D2, Davis makes it, they go D1. Not saying this Davis team isn't good. They're a good football team. But this could be a year for Conroe to finally get over the hump, get past the first round, and maybe make a little run in the playoffs here.
Plug for Coach Calvin Chatham. Tremendous job at Aldine Davis getting them onto the football playoff landscape and getting them to the playoffs. And we had them on TV this year, and they upset Nimitz. So good for them. Okay, so Klein Oak plays Bridgeland. I think this year Bridgeland is for real. And as soon as I say that, they're going to do something out of character. I hope they don't. Lonnie Madison, I'm talking to you. Klein Oak, you love Klein Oak. You love Klein Oak. Just because they got one freshman running back that's pretty good. He's really good, but it's not their time yet. Bridgeland is loaded on the offensive line. They've got a pretty good offense. Their defense is salty. They had a really good year. Their only loss came to Ridgepoint, which is actually a very close game, I think. And I think they got a chance to go a couple rounds deep. So you got that. That's D1 Region 2. D2, I know you want to talk about Willis. Willis. Talk about him.
Yeah, this is a Willis team last year. Obviously, made it 3 rounds deep. Played DeSoto, lost a little bit. That was a little bit one-sided against DeSoto. DeSoto was out for vengeance last year. But you look at this Willis team this year. With the way that they're playing ball right now, I think they could make another deep playoff run. I really like what Jermaine Bishop is doing there, playing wide receiver, playing defensive back. And then Jack Emerson, the quarterback, has had a big year there. Only three turnovers on the year. Maybe a couple more than that, but I believe I saw only 3 turnovers on the year. That's pretty good. So you look at this Willis team. I think that they'll beat Spring, which should be a fun game for Trent Miller, as he used to be the head coach at Spring.
Yeah.
So might be an interesting matchup there. But I think they'll beat Spring pretty good. And then you look at the rest of the playoff structure. They're gonna have to play DeSoto if they make it to the third round. So can they get over the hump, Matt, this year and beat DeSoto? I don't know. I would ask you the same question, but I think this is a good team that has a chance.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that they're ready for big time football, because it's not really, their skills can match for sure, but their offensive defensive line, that's where DeSoto could lean on them, and that's where the problem comes. Tomball, Cy Springs, we talked about that a little bit a minute ago. I think Tomball wins. I really like Tomball. They're boring to watch, kind of, because they just play run, little play action, defense, but they win games. So I really like them. College Park playing Westfield. Going out on a limb, College Park. We had Coach on our first ever podcast. He made history right here in this room. Coach Kyle Coates. Yes, he was great energy. I think they're going to beat Westfield.
I think so too.
Bold.
I really like the sophomore quarterback they got there. He's put together a really good year. First year on varsity, and then the weapons he has to get the ball to. He's got 2 elite wide receivers in that district that I would say are first team all district selections. They've had really big years. And then their offensive line is pretty big. They're big up front. They can move people. They can get the run game going. And then defensively, same thing. Their front 5 is really good. Secondaries has Marco Beltran at safety. He's had a big year too. I think College Park can get it done. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think College Park can get over.
That's a huge win if they get that. If they get that, that is a turning point for that program with Kyle Coates at College Park. Their volleyball team's doing it right now. They could lose this week, but they went a couple rounds deep in the volleyball playoffs, so good for them. Klein Collins, Cy Woods is also a pretty good game. Cy Woods is a surprise team that we kind of got on board with, and they lost to Bridgeland and kind of came back to reality. Klein Collins has struggled this year, which is not really what Coach Adrian Mitchell does. But they just had to replace a lot of players from a year ago. I think Klein Collins is going to sneak up and win this game. You don't like it.
I don't like that. I think Cy Woods is going to win. I really like what the quarterback there is doing. We've talked about him in a previous. Doesn't look like a quarterback when you step out on the field, but the dude can play some football. He's good in the run game, very good in the passing game, very accurate. I think that this Cy Woods team has been slept on enough this year. Yes, they did take a loss to Bridgeland. Not many teams were beating Bridgeland this year, as we've already stated, but I think Cy Woods gets the win, and I think that they could be due for a playoff round.
Region 3, that's what we care about. Not really, but, it's all the Houston teams. 6A, D1, North Shore, playing Deer Park. Deer Park is not bad. Deer Park is pretty good. And they really have a great coach in Austin Flynn. I'm not sure that they can handle the physicality, but they can make big plays. They have a really good quarterback and a couple of decent weapons on the outside. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying that they could kind of hang around for the first couple quarters.
They did take a tough loss, though, last week. Dickinson, I believe they only scored 6 points in that game. So, coming off that loss, coming into the playoffs might not necessarily be a good sign for your team. But I have watched this Deer Park team earlier in the season. They look pretty good. I like what the quarterback Landon, I can't pronounce your last name, Landon K. But big 6'6" kid, can sling the ball, also can get out and in space and make some plays with his legs. But I think this North Shore team, they have an attitude right now with what they're doing.
You have an attitude.
And I think that they'll get the win.
Ridgepoint Dobie, Ridgepoint wins. Katie Elsick, Katie wins in the first 10 minutes of the game. Cy Falls, Bel Air, Cy Fall wins. Lamar plays Cy fair. Cy-Fair wins. Fulsher, Pato. Fulsher, Pato. Fulsher, Pato.
This game might be one of the fastest games you will
It's going to
ever
be fast.
go
There's
watch.
going to be a lot of running, a lot of physicality in this game. Fulsher plays no one. Me, you, Alex, Bradley, Tyler. We could make up a team that would be better than some of the teams in that district that Fulsher plays in. I mean, we're pretty good. We're pretty athletic. Yes? Yeah. No. But Fulsher plays no one in district play. They had a pretty good pre-district team, pre-district slate. But Pato's bigger than I thought, and they're more physical, and they're better on defense, and they can run the ball. They kind of play very similar games. I'm taking a flyer. Pato, I'm taking a flyer on you, my guy.
Right as you say that, there's some news I got to tell you
Oh,
about.
crap. All right.
I was there for Pato Jordan last week. The running back, Terrence Johnson, who's had a huge year for that Pato offense, went down with an injury, didn't come back into the game. Don't know if he'll be back, but they've got a sophomore running back, Zeno. He's very talented. Scored 2 touchdowns late in that Jordan game. Either way, I think this Pato team is going to be able to run the ball and do what they do. And then up front, Carmelo Brooks is a monster.
Beast.
Houston's definitely getting a steal on that kid. He's
He
been
looks
playing
a
great.
lot like me.
He's been
Nothing
playing
like me.
great lately. But I don't think they'll be able to stop Patrick Broadway in this Fulsher offense.
You're probably right.
And I think that Fulsher wins this one. It's a close game and very fast game. If you're a fan of games being done by 9 o'clock, this is probably the game for you.
Let's say if you're over 50 and you want to go to bed by 10, you should go to this game.
Yes.
Okay. So Pearland Foster, whoop-de-woo, no one cares. Pearland's going to win this. They're going to continue going deep. Dickinson Atascocita, this is a pretty good game. Everybody's on this Atascocita bandwagon. Everybody's on it. That Kingwood game kind of gave me some heartburn, but Kingwood's not bad. So Dickinson, very athletic. They're very matched up evenly athleticism-wise, kind of. But, I mean, gosh, Cardi Mack for Atascocita is so good. And Blaylock is so good. I mean, you got to pick Atascocita.
Yeah, I think I
We're
would
gonna
pick
pick 'em.
Atascocita. Though this is a Dickinson team that almost beat Katy this year. They were right there, barely missed a touchdown. They had a toe tap that was just barely out of bounds in the end zone for the win. But I think that Atascocita wins it by 3. Let's call it 3-7. 3-7 is the line.
Betting odds is 3-7. It's a big line. That's a big difference.
Let's call it
between
7. Let's call it 7.
That's a big difference. Well, okay. So, man, football is footballing right now. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing some amazing coverage like our reels. Our reel game is going. Our reel game is going. Great interviews. We've got some cool podcasts coming up as well. Surprise teams. We're going to talk every week about the playoffs, but they have some monster matchups coming up. And that's going to be exciting. I won't ruin it. I won't get ahead of ourselves. But they got some monster matchups coming on. The storyline is this. Can North Shore make it to state and beat a team from Dallas? Can they?
I think they can. I have not necessarily liked how they've started out. The 2 games I've seen them in 3 games. South Oak Cliff, Summer Creek, or Atascocita, and then Summer Creek last week. In the Atascocita and Summer Creek game, offense started slow, and you saw Atascocita and Summer Creek take early leads. Now, with that being said, North Shore's offense woke up. The defense stood tall. Last week in Summer Creek, North Shore scored 35 unanswered points, won 35-10 when they were down 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. That is concerning to me when
too.
they start having to play teams that are going to score consistently, like a Duncanville or North. Do not sleep on North Crowley. I think that team could
really
beat Duncanville in the semifinal, but I'm a little concerned. I think that they'll be fine. They'll make it to the state semifinal game. They'll play a Westlake or Lake Travis. I honestly would be I would have to say it's a toss-up once you get to that state game because crazy, wacky things happen once you get to the state championship game.
They got to get out of the region. The region's not is pretty good. It's pretty good and very well coached. And you're right. you cannot be that conservative on offense at the beginning of the game, and you can't have turnovers because it leaves you a small margin for error. They won that Summer Creek or Atascocita game was a game they should have lost. They won because did some North Shore things, but they got to start quicker. Just saying that. Willie, Gaston, start quicker, please, so we can ensure us getting to go what?
Also to note, you look at their playoff run that they might have to have.
Murderers Row.
Yeah, so just to point
Deer
it
Park
out.
is not bad.
Deer Park isn't bad. That's round 1. Hypothetically, we're picking
Not hypothetically.
Ridge Point in round 2.
They're
That's a
good.
tough
They're
game.
very good.
Round 3 would be Katy.
Never heard of them. 10 championships.
And then the regional final could be a rematch with Atascocita, which is a game that they almost lost. So it's going to be a long
juicy,
playoff
man.
road for them. But I think if they're able to not start slow on offense, get the ball, just get points. Get points on that first drive. Get your offense going. Get the offense flowing. Defensively, their defense has looked awesome all year. Keep doing what you're doing there. I think that's the biggest key for them. And special teams. Their special teams have scored a lot of points this
Amazing.
year.
They've been very good. Okay, so that's the North Shore Hour, brought to you by North Shore. This is Matt and Jackson. All right, so look, catch us next week. Catch our rankings, catch all of our amazing graphics, catch everything amazing that VYPE does. I mean, you can't go 15 minutes without seeing something amazing we do. Jackson DePasquale, this is Matt Malatesta. We are on the whistle. Like, subscribe on YouTube, follow this podcast, share it with a friend, and follow us on all of our social media channels. This is Matt. We'll see you at the game.